For September, we're going to have to see the performance. If it's a 2 to 4 round stoppage, yeah, I can turn around and do it.
Which could be. Huh? Could be a 2 to 4 round stoppage.
Yeah.
Do you think Spence is at that point yet where you could fight a guy in?
Let's be real.
Of your experience?
Yes, let's be real. You know what I'm saying? I was working with Winky Wright, Chad Dawson, Jeff Lacey, you know, at the age of 16 years old, all on my own, you know. And then, you know, when I hit HBO, I was scheduled to fight Marcos Maidana. And they pulled out 3 weeks prior to the fight. You know, so what would have happened if I would have got Marcos and I would have beat Marcos? Where would I have been headed? I would have been headed straight for the top, you know, and it would have happened way more rapidly than my scenario. They're making me hop hoops and fences, and, you know, now the world wants to see me fight Errol Spence. You know, Errol Spence, whether we fight our next fight or in the future, as long as we're both at the top of the welterweight division, it's a fight that's going to happen. He's young, up and coming, you know, I'm young, I'm up closer to the top. You know, my eyes are set on Mayweather. You know, let's get through Mayweather. Let Mayweather announce his retirement, and then I'll go and fight some of the next best competition, which could possibly be a Errol Spence. Now, does Errol Spence, you know, should he really step up like that with only 16 fights, you know? But we've seen, 2-0 world champion. Yeah, or 1-1 world champion, you know? So at the end of the day, man, when you are an Olympian, when you've been boxing for as long as me and some of these other kids have, man, you know your skills and your talent, you know? He knows how to protect himself. He has a good offense, he has a good defense. That's what you need to be a boxer. The definition of boxing is to hit and not get hit. So he thinks he can play the game with me, he can play the sport with me, then let it be. And I'm gonna be real. I'm one time for a reason. So he can have all the confidence in the world, but he's not gonna want to get caught like none of these boys.
Now, Collazo's a solid guy, but talking, you know, clearly talking about Maidana and stuff, are you disappointed in fighting him? It's kind of a letdown? A little bit?
It's not. It was not on my priority, you know. But at the end of the day, I wanted to stay active. And for the first time in my career, when they called me about my next fight, you know, they actually only gave me one name. Normally, I hear a list of names, and they're just like, Luis Collazo will fight you. And I'm like, okay. You know, what else am I going to say? Go find somebody else. When Sean Porter, you know, is fighting, you know, this weekend, and then Amir Khan took another fight, you know, who did I have to fight this summer, you know? So it was a little bit, like I said, it wasn't what I wanted, but my team and I wanted to stay busy, we want to stay active, we want to stay entertaining the world of boxing, and if this is the man that wanted to sign the dotted line, then this is what it's going to be.
When do you want to get Maidana? I know people really want to see that fight.
You know, I want him whenever he wants me, you know, whenever he's ready. You know, I think it's a fan-friendly fight. I have one opponent that's in common with Mayweather right now, Robert Guerrero, and I look forward to having other opponents in common with Floyd Mayweather and showing the world, you know, how I look in the ring in comparison to some of the other top welterweights.
Does it put a little bit of pressure on you because of how Collazo looked against Cant? It was at least just as good, if not more impressive in the fights than, you know, like what happened just now with Amir Khan and Algieri. Algieri got dominated and beat up so bad with Pacquiao. Khan struggled a little bit in the fight to the point where people are now like, nah, I don't want to see him fight Mayweather in September. You know, it's almost like he shot himself in the foot.
You know,
it's almost like this fight.
This fight, for me, yeah, there's not a lot for me to gain.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot for me to gain, you know.
But there's a lot to lose. But there's a lot to lose.
Yeah, there's a lot to lose. I can lose a lot of respect depending on how the performance ends up. You know, depending on how the performance ends up, people can call me a hype job. You guys know the sport of boxing. You know, at the end of the day, though, you know, you try to take one victory at a time, one training camp at a time, one opponent at a time, and keep moving to the top. I'm trying to create a career for myself, but not just any career. I'm trying to create a legacy. And, you know, in the midst of having great fights, sometimes you have good fights, and sometimes you have just a fight.
Now you have a guy like Crawford who's a huge attraction in Nebraska, and now you have Wilder who just sold, you know, what, 13,000 or so tickets in Alabama.
I think 9,500.
This is your first big fight in your by your hometown. Do you think you can become a kind of attraction, and do you want to keep fighting there over and over again instead of moving around?
I mean, over and over and over again, I don't know, you know, we all know that there's bigger arenas, you know, in the world of boxing. You got the Barclays Center, you got here at the MGM Grand, you know, you got Texas, you got LA. But in the midst of having fights, I would like to, from time to time, get used to every once in a while, on a yearly basis, at least having one fight at home for my home city, for my home fans, and just for myself.
You wouldn't want to fight there regularly and try to become like a hometown attraction?
You know, I don't. Besides Floyd Mayweather living out here, I mean, I don't know who really does that. Today, I don't see that being that common in the world of boxing. One thing that I've always loved about the world of boxing is that it's a world sport. Send me to China. Send me to Dubai. Send me to Britain, to England. You know what I'm saying? I'll fight on any platform. You know, but I do want to bring boxing back to Tampa Bay.
Well, what about Kell Brook? Fighting England for that?
I would love it. Fly right over.
You know, that would be a unification fight.
It'd be nice. It'd be great. You know, Kell is a great opponent. I believe that he is somebody I kind of froze today when asked about an underrated fighter. I think he's slightly underrated. You know, I like the style. I like what he brings. You know, I think he's intelligent. He's smart. He's got a nice straight 1-2.
Because of are you looking with any vested interest in tomorrow night's fight with the main event?
Yeah, with the main event, I would love to fight the winner. You know, I mean, when it comes to the rumor world, how many times have you heard the rumor that I might be fighting Sean Porter? You know, I mean, I've heard it at least twice.
Or Devin.
Or Devin. I've heard that like once. Never saw a contract. So, you know, I believe me and Sean Porter eventually would be a great fight for the fans.
You had some fights at 54. Do you think you'll not come back?
They were like between.
I didn't. See, so I never have competed above my amateur weight class, which is 152 pounds. And that was on purpose because I knew that I would be a welterweight, 147. I would have never competed at 152 pounds if I either didn't change the weight classes in the amateur rank. See? So started off my pro career at 152. We worked our way down to 147. I plan on being here for as long as need be. You know, I would love to become one day the unified champion of the world, undisputed champion of the world. You know, that's a big dream of mine, that's a goal of mine. I want to make history. You know, I think all a man really can do is make history and hopes to be remembered. You know, I put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this sport, and I'm going to do my best to be remembered.
Is the division being held up a little bit because Floyd has 3 out of 4 belts and refuses to drop the 3 belts? He said if there's last fight, he'd drop him, and now he's like, you know, 2 guys were going to fight, Bradley and Barks were going to fight next week for the vacant DO, and then his lawyer sent the letter and said, I never vacated the belt yet, so how can they fight for it? I'm still the champion, and now it's up in the air whether the belt will even be at stake for that fight.
You know, at the end of the day, man, Floyd Mayweather has hogged a lot of the spotlight. You know, the way he chooses his opponents, the way you know the hype all around him and his fights and everything. You know, Floyd is more. People are more attracted to Floyd to really like watch him fall. They want to watch him fall more than climb because he's been at the top forever. So really, people are just, you know, they're waiting for the law of gravity to kick in, and what goes up must come down. That's what they're really waiting on. At the end of the day, you know, I mean, what did you guys write about the Manny Pacquiao performance? You know, I mean, a lot of people felt like, you know, they overpaid, this, that. I told everybody, I don't even think he can sell his next fight without declaring that it's going to be his last fight, regardless of if it is or not. I think he needs to declare it to sell tickets.
You were saying before that he doesn't want to fight the young guys. You don't really think he wants to fight any fresh guys?
I don't think he wants to fight me. You know, he wants me and Errol to fight because he wants to see if Errol can handle me. You know, obviously he believes in Errol Spence's skills and talents. I mean, I already know that it's going to be a good fight. You know, I mean, y'all boys talk about it enough. You might as well make it happen because I don't give a I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm here to fight, you know. I'm here to know how good am I? How good am I in the world of boxing? I had over 100 fights in the amateurs, 7 national titles. I made it all the way to the top, and I found out I was number 2. I lost in the Olympic trials to Demetrius Andrade, and I walked around with my head up high, being the 2nd best fighter in America, you know. And now here I am competing on a world stage, trying to be the best fighter in the world. Currently ranked number 5 in the world by Ring Magazine. So where am I really? Where do I belong in the rankings? I want to find out. If there's a fighter that can beat me, I want to find out.
One more question. Do you think you're in a similar position as Floyd, but in a different type of scenario where you have a lot of fighters in the division that are hoping with every fight that you get knocked off that way, or struggle like what happened with the Bundu fight, even though it's a guy who never lost, has never been stopped, but just because you didn't stop him, the guys turned around and said, maybe he's not that tough, that Thurman, I don't got to fight him.
That got me the Guerrero fight. You know, I think if I would have dominated, I think Guerrero would have stayed away. You know, I think they felt safe. You know, obviously Guerrero did go the 12 rounds. You know, he was tough enough. You know, I do believe that part of my performance of not really getting the knockout had to do with me strategically fighting with the hematoma. But you know, at the end of the day, he still took many punches on the chin and stood up to it. You know, so it is what it is. You know, like I said, I'm not walking around claiming that I'm TBE. But I am walking around saying that I am one of the best and one of the strongest, one of the toughest welterweights in the welterweight division today. Current events, Keith One Time Thurman.